Hey friend, this is episode number 535 of the And So podcast with Taylor Bradford. Let's get to it. Boss Girl Creative presents And So with Taylor Bradford, business and life musings from a successful serial entrepreneur. Each week, you will hear Taylor spill the tea on all things business, life, relationships, health, and everything in between. But don't worry, each week also includes a business nugget that will help you stay on course. And now a throwback to 3-year-old Taylor who inspired all of this.
And so, and so, and so.
Okay, so welcome to the podcast. I am recording in my office at the warehouse, and it's because I left my laptop and had no way to record this episode. So if there is a overabundance of echo, that is why I'm not in my 2x3 closet. So please forgive me. It has been a hard week. It's been a hard week. Before we get into the topics and search bar confessions and this week's business nugget, a brief reminder that I broke up with MailChimp because I just, when the robots found one of my email lists and spammed it and it sent me into a different tier, I was like, okay, that's enough. Just too many struggles with MailChimp. So I switched to Flowdesk. I'm now a Flowdesk affiliate, and I want to say that effective November 28th, they are changing their pricing model. So they have been on a 2-plan model through now, and effective November 28th, they are switching to a tiered model, meaning they will charge based on your subscriber level. So if you want to lock in, if you want to get grandfathered into their pricing as it stands now, which is 2 plans, you have your email plan and then you have an email plan plus a checkout. So there's 2 options to pick. If you want to be grandfathered into those things, then now is the time to make the switch to Flowdesk before they move into their new pricing model effective November 28th. So use bossgirlcreative.com/Flowdesk. That's going to give you 50% off your first year after your 14-day free trial. So if you're on the hunt or you've been thinking about either switching email service providers or you're needing an email service provider, check out Flowdesk. bossgirlcreative.com/Flowdesk. That's the link to use to get that 50% off your first full year. So let's talk about the season of hard that I've been in, that my husband has been in. When I sat down to record last week's episode, I had no idea that my mother-in-law had passed. I didn't learn about her passing until after I finished recording. So I sat there thinking she still had time while I was recording that episode, only to learn she didn't. And it kind of threw me through a loop to learn that. And obviously very, very, very hard for my husband and my sister-in-law and my father-in-law. But it meant that I needed to step up and help them through some of these hard decisions, some of these hard things. So I volunteered to write the obituary. After seeing what the funeral home put together, I was like, oh no, that does not show her essence at all. It was so unpersonal. So I wrote her obituary. I basically put the obituary they wrote into ChatGPT and was like, this is awful. Help me write one. Give me a list of questions that I can ponder that is going to help me write this obituary and make it her, make it her. And so it did. It gave me a list of questions to ponder, to ask my sister-in-law, to ask my husband. And it helped me write her obituary from those questions. And the amount of people that commented about her obituary just showed me that that was the right direction to take, to get questions from ChatGPT to help me think about how to write a better obituary than what the funeral home did. I also volunteered to put together the slideshow, and I kind of felt like I had big shoes to fill because their grandmother passed away on Father's Day. My mother-in-law's mother passed away on Father's Day, and she was a beloved figure for my family. She helped raise my husband, and it was a 20-minute slideshow presentation. I was like, oh my gosh, I have big shoes to fill. It was a really good presentation of my husband's grandmother's life. So I was like, all right. So I spent 4 days scanning photos, uploading photos, and building out that slideshow. And then coming up with the music, that's also a challenge, because how do you find songs that are fitting to the woman you're celebrating as her life? So I chose Miranda Lambert's House That Built Me because that was a song my sister-in-law was like, we listen to this song all the time. And her and I and my mother-in-law, we attended multiple Miranda Lambert concerts. And one specifically, not long after she wrote that song, she was performing in Dallas and she sang that. And it was so close to home because she had just written it that she basically was unable to sing more than half of that song, and the audience carried her. We sang it for her, and it was such a memory that I'll never forget. And I experienced that with my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law together. So that was the first song. And then I chose a Carly Pierce song. She had written a song for her sister who passed away, and it was a very fitting song called Show Me Around. And then the third song I included was Ed Sheeran's Supermarket Flowers, which was about his mom passing. The fourth song was The Dance, Garth Brooks. And then the fifth song was just a blip of a song, but it was Time After Time, Cyndi Lauper and Sarah McLachlan version. And I really felt all of those songs spoke to my mother-in-law's existence on this earth. It was 17 minutes long, almost 18 minutes long, and it was beautiful. I felt very proud to say that I put that together in honor of her, in celebration of her. So also with all of that, not only managing my own emotions, but being able to manage the emotions I was getting from my husband and getting from my sister-in-law and my father-in-law, that is hard in and of itself. Not only are you managing your own emotions, but you're managing how others are interacting with you. And wow, that's been a challenge. My dad was able to make the funeral. He came down the day before and he attended the funeral. My stepmom was not present. And that was a very big misstep on my stepmom's part. I won't dive into that because that is still a very big wound for me and my husband, but a misstep on my stepmom's part. So right now my garden is just coasting. I need to get into a groove somewhere, somehow, sometime, because I got to get my fall stuff in the ground soon. And we're in this weird waiting space for our house. I believe he's starting next week. And as soon as he starts, then I will make my window order. And so we're still waiting for next steps. I did meet my chimney mason, and I do need to reach out to the rock quarry in Arkansas for the rock that I'd like. So I got to do that ASAP. So that's where we are on the house. Books, I didn't finish anything last week. I started book number 2, Richard Osman's book number 2 in his Thursday Murder Club series, which if you haven't seen on Netflix, I highly, highly recommend watching that. That's book 1, Thursday Murder Club. And then book 2 is The Man Who Died Twice. And then there's book 3, and book 4 is coming out this month, September 2025. And I didn't realize I missed book 2 and already read book 3. So you don't have to read them in order because I didn't. And so because of the grief and all of the things that's been going on this week, I have not been in a headspace to listen. And so I have restarted that book 5 times. I'm finally about 80% through. So I finally found time to listen. And it's a fantastic read. I enjoyed book 3, so I knew I would enjoy book 2, and I was sad I didn't read them in order, but here we are. So waiting in the wings of other books that I will be reading soon: The Page Turner, Viola Shipman, American Duchess by Karen Harper. I actually just joined another book club with a friend, Sunday Supper, Kate is her name. And I'm really looking forward to that. She is fashion focused in her brand, Sunday Supper. She creates wearable items, and I love her style. I love her aesthetic. And she loves the Gilded Age and historical fiction. So we're going to be reading American Duchess for our first book. I'm looking forward to that. So that is the wrap up on basically what's been going on in my world lately. Let's dive into search bar confessions. There's not a whole lot going on this last week with search bar confessions, but I did Google how to write a personal obituary before I started into ChatGPT can probably help prompt me with some questions. And then I did start searching for an apple scone recipe because I would really like to add baked goods to my farm stand, which has been on hiatus since I've been back from Colorado. Something else I need to find some spark for. And then insect netting setups. So before I put my broccoli in the ground, before I put my cabbage in the ground, before I put collards in the ground, I need to get some insect netting so the worms do not find these beautiful plants. So that has been my search bar confessions for the week. And now let's get into this week's business nugget, which is all about if you're quiet right now, it doesn't mean that you're falling behind. And I feel this parallels what I've been going through in this last week. And I've already talked about grief. That was a couple episodes back, but this is present time. And I try every week to be sharing something that is going on in my own world in some form or fashion. And this for sure hits the mark. If you're quiet right now, you're not falling behind. And this week has been quiet. I've been quiet everywhere across my social media channels. And it's not a planned quiet. And it's not an intentional content break quiet. It's just because life sucks right now. Life is hard right now. It's the kind of quiet that comes when your brain is full, your heart is heavy, and the only thing you really have the energy to do is to just exist, to just go through the motions. Maybe that involves crying. Maybe that involves sleeping. Maybe that just involves staring into space. And that's all. I have been staring at my new hummingbird feeder, watching for hummingbirds, and I can just be caught up in just staring. And that's where I'm at right now. And if you've ever been in a season like this, or if you're in one right now, I want to talk to you today, because this is the part no one likes to cover in all of the content consistency tips or the algorithm growth hacks that you see on social media. This is a part where real life drops in and makes visibility feel impossible or irrelevant or both. And when that happens, the spiral starts. I'm losing momentum. People are going to forget about me. I worked so hard to build this, and now it's just sitting still. I know those thoughts. I've thought them. I'm still thinking them, honestly. But here's what I also know. what I'm reminding myself in real time right now. Quiet doesn't mean forgotten, and rest doesn't mean failure. Let's just name it. Visibility guilt is real, especially when you've been consistent, especially when you've been in a groove, especially when you know how long it's taken you to build that momentum in the first place. It feels like the moment you stop posting or emailing or showing up, it's all just going to collapse. And yet, you're here, still standing, still thinking, still in it. Maybe not visibly, maybe not out loud, but that doesn't mean you've disappeared. And if you're someone who builds a business rooted in your own creativity, your own energy, your own heart, there are going to be quiet seasons. There have to be quiet seasons because you're not a machine. We are not machines. We're not an algorithm. We are human beings trying to build something meaningful. And sometimes meaning takes time and silence and slow mornings where nothing gets done. So if you've been quiet lately, whether it's from grief or burnout or overwhelm or decision fatigue or just life, I want to offer this gentle truth. You're not falling behind. You're just taking a breath. And you get to take that breath. You get to be in this season without needing to perform your way through it. And while you're here, while the world feels paused or muted or just really heavy, maybe this is the moment to ask, what still feels true? Even if you're not posting, even if you haven't emailed your list in a minute, even if your planner is collecting dust on the kitchen counter, what still feels like you? Because that's what you're building from, not the output. Not the checklist, but the truth. That's your momentum, even when no one else sees it yet. So this episode, this business nugget, is a soft landing, a quiet reminder, a little breadcrumb for your nervous system. You're not behind, you're human. You're not forgotten, you're just quiet. And when you're ready to speak again, even if it's messy or late or whispered into a phone mic, which is what I'm doing right now, your voice will still matter, even in the quiet, especially in the quiet. Thank you for being on this journey with me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for pressing play. I appreciate you more than words could ever express. Until next time, I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Let's go.
And like my 3-year-old self said, that is all for this week. Friendly reminder to rate and review my show wherever you are listening. And last but not least, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me an audio message at bossgirlcreative.com/speak. I would love to hear your takeaways, ideas for upcoming episode topics, and your feedback. Thank you again for listening to this week's episode. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of this one.